What is good, TV Nation? Welcome back to another live stream. This is actually not the CVPC. This is just a normal live stream. Just me, no guests today. First of all, let's address the elephant in the room. Yes, this is a new shirt. No, I'm kidding. Yes, I did get a boom arm because the audio was just not working out. Because of the background change. So I did get myself one of these, and it's helping out. It's really helping out. It's hopefully it's an improvement. Hopefully you guys can hear an improvement. But yeah, let's get some people in here today. We're going to be reacting to some unpopular opinions. So let me just promote the stream so that we can have as many people as possible in here. We've got 5 viewers, so jump into the chat. Let me know you are in here. The way we're going to do this is that we're going to first a bunch of questions got sent in, or not questions, but a bunch of unpopular opinions got sent in through Instagram. So we're going to react to those first, and then towards the end, we'll take some of the live chat, and so just keep on commenting as many unpopular opinions as you want, as however many you have, and we'll get to those at the end. But we've got Ginger Cat 59 in here. All right, what's going on, dude? Andre Roberts, how are you doing today, sir? Comment some unpopular opinions, guys. I'm gonna get the ball rolling in a little bit. Let me just come in here. Deluxe collectibles we got in here. All right, what's up? The Cartoon Fan 2006. I'm SpongeBob and more 2006 today. I got terminated. Whoa, why did that happen? What? That makes that sucks, man. I feel really bad for you. But hey, at least you got a new account. So glad to have you here, bro. But let's open up this folder right here, and then we will get to all the unpopular opinions. So we've got 26, I believe. Probably 20, 25. We've got Let's Talk Movies with Ian Bigwood, who just started his channel. What's going on, dude? All right, we got a decent amount of people in here. Let's start it off with, first, let me just go in here. Ninja Brick Studios, what is going on, dude? What is going on? And guys, we have 10 people watching, so first, do me a favor, click that like button. It helps the stream out. And start commenting unpopular opinions that you have, and we will get to them at the end. But first, I'm going to go through the Instagram stuff that I got sent in. I had one on Twitter too, but for some reason, I couldn't find it. I went to my Twitter profile, and I couldn't find that tweet that I put out. But let me just adjust this so you guys can see my face better. And yeah, let's go. All right. So first things first. Okay. From 104th Commander Hansen, Spider-Man PS4 is the best Spider-Man adaptation. Now, with that, I agree to a certain degree. Okay, I do think it's a really good adaptation, and it's probably my second favorite, if I'm being honest. I still disagree in the fact that I do think Spectacular Spider-Man is a better representation of the character. Maybe that's just me. Maybe that's the biased side of me talking, because I love the Spectacular Spider-Man. But yeah, Spider-Man PS4 is so good. It's such a good representation. It's freaking awesome. The game is a really good game in of itself, but I think that's a really good Peter Parker and Spider-Man combo to have. And Yuri Lowenthal, oh my god, he was such. I didn't exactly think he could be a good Spider-Man, but because he's voiced stuff like Ben 10 before, and I was like, I love Ben 10, but he doesn't strike me as Spider-Man. But then I saw him I heard him in the game, and I'm like, dang, this is actually some pretty good casting. So let me just do this real quick, reacting to your unpopular opinions live, and then we will get to the other ones. So just excuse me for one moment. Sorry about this. All right, and let's do that. All right. Let's keep it going. All right. Next up is from Basic Entertainment, a good friend of mine. He says Tobey Maguire is the worst actor for Spider-Man. Boy, oh boy, do I disagree with this. This is really really ruffling my feathers. This is just such I love Tobey Maguire. He's my favorite Spider-Man. I don't think, since we're saying worst, not least favorite, in this case, I'm going to disagree nonetheless. But instead of Tobey Maguire being the best, I think Andrew Garfield was the best, if I'm being honest. He's not my favorite, but I disagree with the notion that Tobey Maguire is the worst 100%. If you mean in terms of worst actor, I can see an argument being made for that, but I don't think he's a bad actor. He's done some really good stuff. Like, he's done more movies than Spider-Man. So check out some of his other films. The most recent one he was in was The Great Gatsby with Leonardo DiCaprio. And I never saw that film. I know Max talks movies. I don't know if he's in here. I know he saw it. So, and he likes that film. So he's a good actor, man. I disagree with the fact that his Spider-Man is the worst Spider-Man, because it's not. I think the Raimi movies were super comic accurate. They took some liberties in some areas, but the Raimi movies really are kind of interconnected with my life. But besides the whole nostalgia thing, I thought that Spider-Man, that was probably my favorite combo. I was talking about Spider-Man PS4 and how that was a good combo to have. But I think even though Andrew Garfield was the best Spider-Man, and I really, really liked his Peter Parker, I really liked what they were trying to do with that Peter Parker, I still think Tobey Maguire is the best overall combo. Tom Holland, we will not speak of right now, but I like the guy. He's a fine actor. His movies just haven't sold me, But no, I disagree with this a lot. I do not think Tobey Maguire is the worst Spider-Man or worst actor. I think Tom Holland he's a better actor than Tom Holland. And I'm not saying Tom Holland is a horrible actor or anything. I'm just saying, out of the ones we've had, he's probably the worst one. I'm sure he'll grow. I'm sure he'll get better eventually. But right now, that's what it's looking like. Trevor Sondrel, good friend of mine, great channel, Film Geeks, go check him out. Always supporting the channel. He says Dark Knight Rises is better than The Dark Knight. Yeah, no, I do not agree with this at all. I think The Dark Knight Rises is a good movie. It's a well-made film. It's a well-directed, well-acted, well-written film. It's everything that not everything I wanted from a Nolan film, but like, it's a fine entry in his filmography. The Dark Knight is my favorite comic book movie of all time. So yeah, a lot of disagreement on that one, just nowhere near the level for me. I know this is becoming a bit more popular of an opinion. A lot of people, I know Jaren from Jaren Talks Movies, he feels the same way. This is starting to become a sort of a trend. Dark Knight Rises better than Dark Knight, or Batman Begins better than Dark Knight. I still disagree with that. I think The Dark Knight is the greatest comic book movie of all time. I think it's better than Endgame. And there's just so much about that movie that works. It's so well crafted. Christopher Nolan is my favorite director, but I mean, even besides that bias, I still love that movie, man. That movie is great. So I highly disagree with this. Nerdy Blurb TV, who we just had on the CVPC this past Sunday, Ryan, he says Logan is greater than The Dark Knight. I gotta disagree with this one too, man. Logan, unlike The Dark Knight Rises, I think Logan is like top 10 best comic book movie material, but it's not Dark Knight, man. It's not Dark Knight, because if I thought the same thing as Ryan does, then apparently Logan would be my favorite comic book movie of all time, because The Dark Knight is currently my favorite comic book movie. And if I like Logan more, then that means Logan is my favorite comic book movie, but it's not. I don't, it's not that I dislike Logan. It's not that I think Logan is a bad movie. It's a fantastic film. It's my favorite X-Men film by far. The Dark Knight is on a whole nother level though. So I know a lot of people, it's kind of iffy, because when you're talking about top 10 greatest comic book movies, you can really rearrange them in any way you want, and it's still going to be a good list. You could say Endgame is better than Logan. You could say Infinity War is better than Civil War. You can say, I don't know, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is better than Spider-Man 2. You can say a bunch of stuff, but it's really these 10, which are kind of universally accepted, except for me, because I have like a very different top 10 than most people. when you have these like 10, they're kind of universally accepted in a way. And so you can't really go wrong with saying one over the other. Like you can't, like, sure, I don't think Logan is better than The Dark Knight, but apparently Ryan does. And a lot of other people do too. And so you can't really say, or you can't really, consider it. I don't consider it an unpopular opinion. I do consider it a bit of a hot take. I do consider it something that most people don't say. But I personally, I think The Dark Knight is better. But I mean, you could put it above, and it's fair. It's still fair because both movies are great. All the movies that people usually regard as the top 10 greatest comic book movies, they're all great films. All right, next up is my man AJ Reacts from AJ Reacts 2, who I've got a video with him coming tomorrow on my channel, so stay tuned. You know him. He's got some unpopular opinions, and he's saying Home Alone is trash. And how dare you? How dare you, man? Home Alone is an absolute classic. It's easily one of my favorite Christmas films. It is just so perfect. And I do not understand how it could be trash. I do not. Let me see if AJ is in here. Because I want to. Is AJ in here? Let's see here. I'm not seeing AJ. Well, if he wasn't here, I would have some words to say with him. Because I'm going to talk to him after the stream. And I'm going to be like, yo, come on, man. This is just not okay. No, Home Alone is so good. It's honestly almost perfect for me. I will say, hot take coming. Throughout the stream, I'll probably give some of my own hot takes. I do think 2 is better, personally. Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, I think is better than Home Alone 1. But they're both so good. And I do not understand how you could think any one of those, both of those, how any of them are not good. I do not understand. Yeah, there's no way. There's no way. Let's see. Nerdy Films YT, another friend of the channel. He's actually been with me for quite some time now. And I'm hearing an echo. Where's this echo coming from? I don't know why this. Hang on. Why am I hearing Is it from here? It might be. It is from here. Okay, I was logged into the stream here. So I'm sorry, guys. This was not supposed to happen. How do I leave this? This is so weird. Settings. Guests. No. Can I leave this thing? I don't know how this has happened, but please tell me I can leave. I don't think I can. This is so weird. This was not supposed to happen. Can I kick myself out? I cannot. Okay. Okay, that's better. All right. I don't know why that happened, but my phone was apparently playing the stream. I'm so sorry about that, guys. But Nerdy Films YT saying Batman v Superman is better than Batman Begins. Definitely no. I disagree with that 100%. Batman v Superman. Batman Begins, I think, doesn't get enough credit. I think a lot of people overlook that movie. It's a great film. Not as good as The Dark Knight, but I will say one thing. I'm going to give you my own hot take real quick. Batman v Superman, better than The Avengers. I'm serious. I am not kidding you with that one. Batman v Superman, better than the first Avengers movie. That's my hot take. That's my unpopular opinion. I am a defender of Batman v Superman, which is why, I do really like Batman Begins, because saying that Batman v Superman is greater than Batman Begins, I disagree with that. But I'm a Batman v Superman defender. So that's really saying something for Batman Begins. It's really making an argument for that movie. I love that first movie, man. I think Ra's al Ghul is easily a very underrated comic book villain or comic book movie villain. Liam Neeson was so good in that role. Christian Bale is my favorite actor to have played Batman, which we're going to get to after this. And it's just all around such an amazing movie. I saw it. I can't remember the first time I saw that film, but I remember being taken away because it was such a deep, interesting ride. Hands down, my second favorite Batman movie. Hands down. So I disagree with the notion that Batman v Superman is better, but I will say Batman v Superman, not a bad movie. It's a good movie. I really like it. The Ultimate Edition, that is. I'm reviewing all the DCEU films at the moment. So when the time comes, which will be probably next week, maybe the week after, I will review Batman v Superman, and you will find out my in-depth thoughts on that movie. Shamoon React, another big supporter of the channel, he is saying Christian Bale is overrated as Batman. Not even. I think he's underrated, actually, because a lot of people prefer, a lot of people say Michael Keaton, a lot of people say Ben Affleck, a lot of people say Ben Affleck. I say Christian Bale. I definitely think Christian Bale is my favorite. His trilogy is the best trilogy. It's not the best trilogy ever, but like it's one of my favorite trilogies. Begins is really close to my top 10, but The Dark Knight is like in my top 10. It's my number one favorite comic book movie of all time. Christian Bale is a really good Bruce Wayne. I think he isn't as great as he could be as Batman. Let me just say that. You know, I'm gonna do both sides here. I'm not just gonna praise him all the way. I do think he could have been a better Batman, but his Batman is freaking intimidating, and it is scary, and he invokes fear in his criminals, and he doesn't kill. It's a really great interpretation, and I think Christopher Nolan made a great choice in hiring a writer that knows Batman. That I forget his name, but he didn't write the story himself, or I believe I'm talking about the writer. It's something like that. He directed the movie, obviously, but he wanted to have somebody on the team that knows Batman inside and out. I think that was a great choice because those Batman movies, they show their devotion to the character, their care for the character, their interpretation. It all really shows that they care about this character and that it's a good interpretation. And so while I really disagree, Christian Bale isn't not overrated, but to each their own. Max Talks Movies, great channel of himself. Make sure you go check him out. He's a great supporter as well. He is saying, I don't know what he was trying to say exactly because he said Karate Kid part. I don't know if he meant part 2 or part 3. I mean, obviously the original is regarded as really good, but whichever one, 2 or 3 is better than the Jaden Smith remake, and I'm a disagree on this one. I've disagreed with most of these, actually, besides, like, have I agreed with any one of them? I've agreed to a certain extent with the Spider-Man PS4 is the best Spider-Man adaptation. I think it's the second best. But all the other ones I've disagreed with quite a bit. So hopefully we have one that at least I agree with a little bit. No, I really like that Jaden Smith movie. I have it right here if I can find it. It's like right behind my chair, so not gonna happen today. But that Jaden Smith movie I quite like. I quite enjoy it. It's got Jackie Chan, and I'm a sucker for anything with Jackie Chan in it. So while I do think the movie, it's not like original Karate Kid level, but I think I like it more than 2 and 3. I know it's kind of easy to hate on that film. It's kind of the popular thing to do. But no, I think it's better than both part 2 and part 3. I really like that movie. I do. And like the ending of that film, like the last 10, 15 minutes are quite solid. It's not on the back of the Blu-ray that I have. It says you'll stand up and cheer. It's nothing like that, but I mean, it's still pretty solid film. And so I disagree, but, it is regarded as not the best Karate Kid film. I think it's pretty solid though. German Talks Movies saying, German Talks Movies, by the way, great YouTuber. We're trying to have him on the CVPC this week, so hopefully we can make that happen. And he's saying Rogue One: A Star Wars Story is the best Star Wars film. I've never heard this. Like, I've never heard anybody say this. So this is kind of new. Let me just move this closer because I'm sitting back. This is kind of new. Like, I've never heard it before. I think Rogue One is close. It's in my top 5. maybe top 4, probably top 5. I really, really enjoy Rogue One. I know some people don't like it, and I never really understood that. I watched it and I was like, I don't know, guys, this is a pretty exciting experience. It felt like a war movie in the Star Wars universe, and I really, really enjoyed that. I don't think it's the best one. I think my favorite one is still. It goes back and forth between Return of the Jedi and the A New Hope. I still think it's a return. Let's see what I'm feeling today. Because some days it's something, some days it's a different one. Today I'm feeling Return of the Jedi. And most days I'm feeling Return of the Jedi. So I guess you could say Return of the Jedi is my favorite Star Wars movie, kind of definitively. Rogue One I really enjoy, and it's mainly I've heard the argument that a lot of people only really like Rogue One because of that last Darth Vader scene. Yeah, I mean, that is part of it, but I really like that entire movie. And the fact that, spoilers, by the way, the fact that everybody dies at the end is just so bonkers and kind of out there and different that it just works. It just completely works. So I'm glad I agree with you to a little bit, I don't think it's the best one. It's in my top half. It's in my top half. It's easily my favorite of the Disney run. The Disney Star Wars, not a trilogy, but the trilogy combined with Solo and Rogue One. Rogue One is easily my favorite, although I do enjoy Solo quite a bit. I really like Solo. I do. I'm not gonna lie. I really like Solo. I thought it was a fun time. It was such a fun time. Never understood the hate for that movie either, although I do think it wasn't exactly a necessary movie. Plus the fact that you didn't have Harrison Ford in there. It's kind of iffy, but no, I really like Solo, and I like Rogue One even more. So I'm glad you agree with me to a certain extent. Next up is Movie Time. It just started his channel. I like The Amazing Spider-Man 2, but it might be because it was one of my first times seeing a comic book movie in the cinemas, and the audience was screaming and excited, so it made it a good experience. I'm going to agree with you. Finally, one I agree with. I love The Amazing Spider-Man 2. I have made it no secret on the channel. I love the Amazing movies. I do. I think they are great interpretations of Spider-Man. They're probably the best interpretations of Spider-Man, if I'm being honest. I think Andrew Garfield is the best, not only best actor to have played Spider-Man, he is the best Spider-Man in general. I love his performance, and I love the movies. I think 2 is a little bit better than 1, even though 1 is a better made film. 2 is so enjoyable, so entertaining. It's kind of, at times it can get so bad it's good, but even then I still don't think it's a bad movie. I love both of those movies so much. And mainly because I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. That's pretty much the only reason. So I'm glad you agree, man. I remember seeing the film May of 2014, which is when it came out. And I can't remember what the audience was like, if I'm being honest. Although, yeah, I can't really remember. That's a little far back for me. But I remember walking out and I was like so completely taken over. It was like a sensational experience. And it was freaking awesome. I really liked that movie coming out of the theater. And ever since then, I have retained my liking of that movie. It's still such a great movie. I still love it, man. And I remember seeing the first Amazing Spider-Man in theaters too. I think that might have been, surprisingly enough, that might have been my first Spider-Man movie that I saw in theaters. And I can't remember how I felt about that coming out. I think I used to give that movie a bad rap because ever since I saw it, coming out of the theater, I wasn't crazy about it. And then ever since then, every time I've rewatched it, it's always been kind of bland. But then my latest watch just completely won me over. I saw it for what it really was. Now I do think it's one of the most underappreciated comic book movies ever. I know some people disagree with me. I know a lot of people don't like that film. They think it's boring. They think it's bland. Yeah, but it's so well made. It's a great film. It's so freaking good. I think the most misunderstood part about that movie is that the fact that Peter Parker doesn't exactly have those Spider-Man qualities even after he gets bitten by the spider. Like, I've seen arguments, I've seen videos and video essays on this on YouTube about like how Peter is still kind of jerky and kind of snobby even after he gets bitten by the spider, even after he dons the costume. And that's not how it's supposed to be like. Yeah, it's not supposed to be like that, but they were trying to do something different. And the beauty of that film is that Peter's arc in both movies are one of the better parts of both movies. But in the first film, he doesn't. That it's true. He doesn't change as a person once he gets bitten by the spider. He changes on the bridge. That bridge is when Spider-Man is born, not when the spider bites him. That is just him getting his superpowers. He becomes Spider-Man on that bridge. And that bridge scene, I'm getting chills talking about it, man. That bridge scene is one of my favorite scenes in any Spider-Man movie. That bridge scene is something special. It's really something special. And so it's really, you just really have to look at it not as comparing it to other interpretations of the character, comparing it to this and this and that and that. You can't compare it to the Raimi films because when you do that, you see things are different. And then if you complain about things being different, then like a lot of Spider-Man fans don't know what they want, if I'm being honest, because they were complaining that we didn't want to, like after 2 reboots, we don't want to see the origin story again. Or even with the Amazing Spider-Man movies, when they came out, the critics' consensus was like, it's the same thing as Raimi, just not better. It's just not as good. It's the same thing though. But it really isn't. It's really something different. And then when they change things up, people don't like that either. And so you really kind of have to decide what you want. But I'm going on about this too long. I mean, I could make videos just talking about those 2 movies and how great they really are. But I'm glad you liked it. Movie time. Simply Cinema. Great. I have a very low subscriber. Been with me since last summer, I believe. And he has a lot of stuff. And you guys know he's very famous for his unpopular opinions. Simply Cinema says X-Men Origins is an incredible movie that is primarily flawed by Deadpool. Already disagree, but as a nameless villain, it would have still been a great one. X-Men Origins is not good. X-Men Origins is a very bad movie. I was like pulling on the wire there for a second. X-Men Origins is a very bad movie. It's one of the worst comic book movies of all time, but I know you really like it. Not sure if it's your favorite X-Men movie. I think it might be, if I'm being honest. Let me know which one it is. I don't know if you're in the chat. Let's see. Are you in the chat? Let's see if you're in the chat here. You're probably not. I don't think he is. It's all cool. But simply, X-Men Origins, I do agree with you. It's very primarily flawed by Deadpool. It's so primarily flawed by Deadpool, or Deadpool, like you said, with quotes, with air quotes, because that's not Deadpool. That is not Deadpool. That is just somebody who, I don't even know what that was supposed to be honest. Because Deadpool cannot shoot lasers from his eyes. Like, you can change stuff up about a character thematically. You can change stuff up. You can take liberties with some of the stories that you're basing it off of, but you don't change the character's superpowers. Like, this is a great example. Like, you can change stuff about like Wolverine's stories. You know, you can change stuff up about some of the stuff that he's done in the comics. You don't have to do in the movies, but you can't just make him fly. You can't do that. So, you can't change stuff up about a core aspects of a character. You don't change. Like the main reason about MCU Spider-Man that I don't like, no Uncle Ben, no reference to Uncle Ben, no mention of Uncle Ben. That is a core aspect of the character. You cannot show the spider bite, but you can't ignore the fact that Uncle Ben was somebody who existed. And they haven't. They've done like little things so that fans don't get outraged that are not even mentioning him. Peter has like kind of hinted towards him, but they haven't actually said his name. His initials were on Peter's suitcase, but they haven't said his name. They're getting around it. They've created loopholes, but it's a core aspect of the character that you just don't change. You don't just get rid of Uncle Ben. You don't not mention Uncle Ben. And it's the same thing with Deadpool. You can have him not... Actually, you still need to let him talk. He's the merc with a mouth for a reason. and you sewed his mouth shut. I don't think that makes sense. So at least you acknowledge the fact that Deadpool is not a good part of that movie. Um, at least not after the whole transformation. Before that, Ryan Reynolds is still okay. Oh boy, this next one. Simply Cinema says Godzilla King of the Monsters is a masterpiece. I heavily disagree with that one. King of the Monsters may have been my second or third, maybe fourth least favorite movie of the year last year. It was awful. It was so boring. A monster movie like that with big spectacle and action should not be boring. It should not be boring. And it was so boring. The human aspects did not work at all. And wow, that was a bad movie. That was a really bad movie. I know some people enjoyed it. I know some people liked it. It was kind of mixed in the critics department. But apparently you really enjoyed it, and I cannot say the same. I cannot say the same thing. I really did not like that movie. The human aspects were really, really boring. A lot of the characters were poorly developed. You did not care for a majority of the screen, of the people on the screen, and it just made for such a depressing ride. Even like, it was so depressing. You were just sitting there, you're like, oh yeah, cool action, but even the action isn't that exciting. So yeah, bad movie, but it's Simply Cinema, home of the unpopular opinion. So that's what it's like. Simply Cinema also says Captain Marvel the movie is extremely fun and I enjoy Brie Larson's role. I can't agree with the latter, but the first one I do think to some extent it's fun. It's fun enough. It's one of my bottom tier MCU movies for sure, but not outrageously bad. Not like Iron Man 2, where it's so just a disappointment. I wasn't exactly super hyped for it going in, and coming out, I was like, you know what, that was fine. Brie Larson, I think, was a very uncharismatic screen presence. I really did not like her there. She really picked it up when she was surrounded by other people, mainly Nick Fury. When she was surrounded by Nick Fury, or just other characters in general, she became more likable. But she was very bad in that movie. I'm not even gonna lie. I know Brie Larson's a great actress. She just did not do a great job in that movie, and that sucks because usually you have Marvel movies, at least the main actor is good. Like Thor: The Dark World. I don't hate the movie. It's generally regarded as a very bad movie, but at least Chris Hemsworth is kind of okay in it. I mean, it's not better than the first Thor movie. Chris Hemsworth is still better in the first Thor movie. But Captain Marvel, Brie Larson, is not likable. She's just not a good protagonist. You do not feel her wants. You do not care for her losses. You don't empathize with her. She like right from the start, she like the opening fight sequence, one of the scrolls like opens like its mouth and like screams, and then she like hisses back. Like, I get that was supposed to be funny, but it came off as very uncomfortable and kind of unsettling. And then a lot of stuff about that movie is not good, but Brie Larson is a very unlikable part of it. And so I'm surprised you actually enjoyed the performance, because I did not. He also says Empire Strikes Back is extremely overrated and my least favorite Star Wars film. At least we agree on something. It's not my least favorite personally, but I do find it overrated. I know a lot of people think it's their favorite movie of all time. That is perfectly fine. For me, it's just an overrated film, man. For me, it's just an overrated film. I do not understand the hype for it. I don't get what makes it a masterpiece. I don't get what makes it the greatest sequel of all time. I don't get that. I just don't. It's a very hot take, but that may be the only Star Wars opinion that me and Josh agree on, so at least it's something. Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Verse are good and all, but don't feel that special. I think they're very special because they are the best Spider-Man movies. I think Spider-Man 2 is number 1 and Spider-Verse is number 2. But I know you think Far From Home is the greatest, and that is perfectly fine. I understand what could possibly make Far From Home the top of your list. I just don't understand that. Far From Home is at the bottom for me, and it's so weird because that's the subjectivity of film. I think it's the worst Spider-Man movie. You think it's the best, and that's just kind of how it is now. That's just kind of how subjectivity works. But no, Spider-Man 2 I just rewatched it a couple days ago. It is still a masterpiece. I mean, it's not like I watched it after a couple of years. I watched that movie at least 3 times every year. So it's still, what I mean by still a masterpiece is that it still holds up. Like, even all these years later, it was like its 16th anniversary the day before yesterday. It's still a fantastic film. Still just perfectly gets Spider-Man right. The balancing, how hard it is to balance both sides. And that's part of why I actually like Homecoming more than Far From Home. I still don't like Homecoming, but at least it gets the responsibility aspect of the character right. There are points where Peter has to give up things in his normal life to accept his responsibilities as Spider-Man. And that's something that it gets right. There are points where Peter doesn't go to the party. He dresses up as Spider-Man, but then he decides, what am I doing? I should not be doing this. Sorry, I'm just going to drink some water real quick because I don't want my throat to give in. But yeah, it gets that part right. There are multiple points, like in DC, when they invite him to go to the pool. He's like, no. I'm like, well, like, he doesn't exactly deny it, but like, he has this really awkward off and on again with Liz because of being Spider-Man. And Homecoming gets that part right. Far From Home has literally, the Homecoming makes up a little bit in that responsibility department, but then completely is destroyed in the consequential department. Because the whole thing is, Peter Parker's life sucks. It's awesome to be Spider-Man. Being Spider-Man is awesome. But being Spider-Man is retroactively destroying Peter's life. And that's what Spider-Man 2 completely nails, There's one half to Peter's life of being Spider-Man. The other half is being Peter Parker. But the entire half of being Peter Parker absolutely sucks because, everybody just completely craps on him. And Spider-Man 2 perfectly nails that on the head. Whereas Spider-Verse, I really, really like. I love that movie. It's just that Spider-Verse is, number one, animated. And number two, it has, I guess animated is not something I should bring up because I don't know why I said that. I just thought of animation for some reason. That's not a reason for why I think it's not the best Spider-Man movie. It just focuses on too many Spider-Men, and you can never exactly perfectly capture one. And so that way, I think Spider-Man 2 is better because it's only focusing on one Peter Parker. Spider-Verse is fantastic. It's a great movie. It's focusing on multiple Spider-Men. It's got Miles, Peter B. Parker, Peter Parker, Spider-Man Noir, Spider-Ham, Peter Parker, Penny Parker, Gwen Stacy. There is a lot of Spider-Man in that movie. And so you feel that group dynamic, sure. And the voice acting is awesome, but it's strange because it's like the easy answer, Spider-Verse is what most people would say, oh, that's the best Spider-Man movie. But only like people who absolutely are crazy. Well, not crazy, but like people who I guess care for not comic accuracy. There's no easy way to say this. I don't understand how I can say this. Hardcore Spider-Man fans, I would say, like Spider-Man 2 more. And I'm not saying anybody who likes Spider-Verse more is not a hardcore Spider-Man fan. All I'm saying is Spider-Verse, like, there's no other side to this. There's only one side. Spider-Verse is the easy answer. That's all I can really say without upsetting people. The Spider-Verse is probably the easy answer to give. It's the easiest answer to give. I don't think it's the best Spider-Man movie. But those two, I don't understand how they don't feel special because maybe because you don't think they're the best ones. I'm not sure, but very hot take indeed. We have a couple more from Josh. The Godfather is very bland besides a few parts. I have actually, surprisingly enough, never seen the Godfather movies. There are some of the classics that I have missed. There are a couple of classics that I have missed, so I should probably get on that. But I can't really comment too much because I haven't seen the movie, and I'm guessing you're talking about the first one. He also says, because the Snyder Cut is longer, it may just end up being even more boring and convoluted. That's definitely a possibility. I just don't think, like, number one, I don't completely consider this a hot take because there isn't really enough to go off of. It's something that hasn't come out yet. It's something that we're anticipating, something in the future. But that said, it's very much possible that that could happen. I personally think it will be better. Excuse me. But it's very likely that it disappoints. It's very, very likely. And I do see how that could be an unpopular opinion, saying that, Snyder Cut may not be better. It may actually be worse. So in that case, I do disagree with you. I think it's going to be better. But that's a great point. Like, being longer doesn't necessarily mean being better. We've seen that happen before. Longer movies sometimes end up being worse than shorter movies. So it's definitely possible. Definitely possible. I'm gonna disagree on that one though. Simply Cinema YT, there should only be one movie for each person that is 10 out of 10, which would define their favorite. Oh, very much disagree on this one. If you don't know what he means, basically, his favorite movie. Sorry, Josh, I'm gonna spoil it. His favorite movie is The Last Jedi, Star Wars: The Last Jedi, and that's the only movie he's ever given a 10 out of 10 to, because the way he grades movies, he grades them out of 10. He's given some movies 9.7s, 9.8, stuff like that. But there's only one film that has the reserved 10 out of 10 grade. And that's his favorite film. So basically, your highest grade should only be given to one film, and that should be your favorite film. Or just like your favorite film should be the only film that has your highest grade. I completely disagree with that because, sure, like, favorite film is weird because there are so many films that you think, like, there are films that are in my top 10 or 20, but there are films like outside of my top 10 and 20 that I think are better than some of those films. They are, but they just mean more to me. They just affect me more. They affect me on a deeper level. They connect with me, and like in a way those other films can't. For example, 12 Angry Men is a much better film than a lot of my top 50. 12 Angry Men is not in my top 50 though. It's a better made film, but my top 50 just connect with me more. So picking a favorite is strange. When I'm grading, I'm more thinking about the quality of the film compared to how much does it really affect me. Like, my top 50, you guys don't know what they are yet. I will make a video soon, very soon, or videos. It will be split into 3 parts. But my top 50 consists of A+ movies, obviously, A movies, A- movies, B+ movies, A movies. There's so many different grades mixed throughout my top 50. And so obviously there are films like, if I have a B+, I like my number 40. I'm not saying I do, but if I do, that definitely means there is a film that I gave an A or an A+ to somewhere out there that doesn't happen to be in my top 50, but because I gave it a better grade, I think it's a better film. It's just not one of my favorites, though. So I completely disagree. I don't know if my little rant made any sense, but I definitely disagree. I think you don't have to limit it to just one film. And I'm not saying you should change the way you grade stuff, or change your little ideologies or anything because of what I'm saying. You do you, man. I'm just saying, personally, for me, I think it's perfectly fine to give your favorite film of all time an A+, and to give a film that you could not care for but that you think is a good film an A+ as well. That's perfectly fine in my opinion. And then the last question from Simply Cinema, or not question, unpopular opinion, is going to be Endgame. Endgame is given too much credit for its final battle compared to the movie as a whole, and therefore shouldn't be entitled as perfect. I do think a lot of people give credit to that final battle, for sure. It's a great final battle. I really like that film, and I have given it an A+ because I think it's pretty much near perfect. or is it near perfect? I don't know. I can't remember what I gave it. I definitely gave it an A+, but I can't remember if it's 4.5 stars on Letterboxd or 5. I've given it 3 thumbs up, so I think it's a film that you have to watch at least once in your life. But it does get overrated sometimes. There are times where it gets a little bit too much credit than it deserves. I do agree with that. So finally, something we're agreeing on again. Mega fan, great fan account on Instagram. Make sure to check them out. Batman, Mask of the Phantasm, and Spider-Verse are better than any Disney, Pixar, or DreamWorks movie. Not to discredit their great work, though. Yeah, no, definitely not discrediting anything. I think Spider-Verse is probably one of my favorite animated movies of all time. Easily top 5. But I mean, I'm a Spider-Man fan, so you know how it's got to be with me. But Batman Mask of the Phantasm I have never seen, so I can't comment on that one. Spider-Verse is probably better than all of DreamWorks, in my opinion. DreamWorks Animation, that is. Disney Animation, because Pixar is Disney, if we were to just separate Pixar and just say they're their own thing, which they aren't, but if they were, then in that case, all of Disney Animation, I would disagree with that one too, because my favorite animated movie of all time is The Lion King, and that is obviously Disney Animation, so most of Disney Animation. Spider-Verse may be my second favorite, maybe my third favorite, I'm not sure yet, but it's definitely one of my favorite animated movies. And all of Pixar, I think I'm willing to say yeah. I think I'm willing to say Spider-Verse is better than all of Pixar. So yeah, kind of agree on that one, to be honest. Lucifer Sees Your Pain. Quentin Tarantino is overrated. Definitely disagree on that one. Quentin Tarantino is one of those actors, when I first got into his filmography, I haven't seen all his films, but when I first got into it, it didn't underwhelm me like it probably did for you, but it didn't overexceed my expectations or anything. So, you know, if there's a certain level of praise that people were giving that film, then I thought, when I watched the films in question, I thought that praise was deserved. I thought he met my expectations. They ended up being where I wanted them to be. They did not underwhelm me, but they did not overwhelm me either. So let me just get some water real quick. Keep on commenting. I'm seeing a lot of comments coming in, so keep on commenting those hot takes. We will find some of the better ones right after we're almost done with these Instagram questions. Thank you for letting me drink some water there. But we're almost done with these Instagram questions, so keep on commenting those hot takes in the live chat. But Tarantino, I think Inglourious Basterds is super fun. His films aren't exactly like well made, or I mean they are. Like, they are good films, well made, well directed films for sure. He definitely focuses on the entertainment value though, and I think that's part of why his films are so appealing. Whereas someone like, say, Christopher Nolan, my favorite director of all time, but I would probably rather watch a Tarantino movie than a Nolan film. Like, I would probably rather watch Pulp Fiction rather than Memento, you know? Even though I love Memento, it's one of my favorite films. I love Inception, it's one of my favorite films. I would rather watch an entertaining film than a thought-provoking film, you know? I love mind-bending, reality warping stuff, but entertainment value means a lot to me, and Quentin Tarantino focuses on that. And then we've got a little bit more stuff AJ reacts to. Not exactly movie-related, from what I'm seeing. Jonas Brothers is the best rock band to come out since 2005. Ooh, I'm not too big into rock bands. More into, like, the hip-hop stuff. Since 2005... I don't know that many that have come out, so I might have to agree with you on that, but I don't have enough knowledge to really give a proper opinion on it. Jersey Shore is quality television. I've never heard of Jersey Shore, haven't seen it. I'm assuming it's a show that people think isn't exactly a good show, but apparently you like it. I'm glad you do, but I can't really comment on that one either. This one I can probably comment on a little bit. Stranger Things is better than The Goonies. Haven't seen The Goonies, surprisingly enough. Or maybe I have. I'm just thinking of something else, or I just can't think of The Goonies or what it was. Stranger Things I like quite a bit. I still haven't seen season 3. Should probably watch that. But I really like Stranger Things quite a bit. And then last one from KHJAJSJ. Not sure what his actual name is. That's just what he is on Instagram. He says Mysterio from Far From Home is my favorite villain from any of the live-action Spidey films. No, it's not. Not for me. Definitely one of the Raimi villains at the top, or Vulture. Vulture, I really, really like. Stay tuned because I'm actually going to be filming a video related to this relatively soon. Just keep your eye out. It's going to be a collab. Just stay tuned for that. But no, Mysterio is probably, honestly speaking, one of my probably less preferred. I think Vulture was way better. Mysterio, they kind of took some liberties with the character that I didn't really like. I kind of wish I liked the twist. I mean, it wasn't really a twist because everybody knows Mysterio's a villain. There was just a lot of weird things about that character. I love Jake Gyllenhaal. The character himself just not one of my favorites though. All right, we've got a bunch of questions, so let's see if I can pinpoint some of the hot takes in here. Let's see. Okay, Ginger Cat saying Artemis Fowl is a great movie. Definitely disagree. Very, very bad film. Easily worst of the year so far. Not sure if this is what is a great film that you have seen that people would disagree with you on. If this is a question for me, I'm not really taking questions. I'm doing unpopular opinions. But right off the top of my head, Amazing Spider-Man 2. I love that film. Let's see here. Let's see here. A lot of just conversations going on, which I really like. Let's see here. Yeah, a lot of just conversations. I'm trying to pinpoint some. Well, Ian Bigwood says, "What's your least favorite MCU film?" Again, not an unpopular opinion, but probably Iron Man 2 at the moment. I'm still rewatching all of them, and I'll probably have a definitive answer. By I want to say November because that's when Black Widow comes out. Let's see. Yeah, a lot of. Oh, okay. MCU or DCU? Again, not an unpopular opinion. MCU pretty easily. Homecoming is the best. That's probably from the Far From Home comment. Disagree with that for sure. Spider-Man 2 is perfection. Oh yeah. Let's see. Okay, this is an interesting question. I really love Spider-Man 2, but my question is, why did Peter lose his powers? It's one that definitely is brought up at times, like, his losing powers doesn't make sense. What I will say is, it's what I'm going to say. It definitely is a bit of a leap of faith, if you will, from Spider-Verse. Just having to accept the fact that losing his will to be Spider-Man makes him lose his powers. The fact that, like I was saying, being Spider-Man is just destroying Peter Parker's life. So if it is doing that, why would he continue to be Spider-Man? He wouldn't. That's the thing. And that's what Spider-Man No More is all about. And they adapted that storyline pretty much to perfection, in my opinion. And like when he was at the doctor, maybe you're not supposed to be Spider-Man climbing those walls and all that. He just loses. He doesn't want to be Spider-Man anymore. He doesn't want that burden of responsibility. And obviously he has to disconnect with that Uncle Ben part of himself that was talking to him about all that responsibility, because Uncle Ben is pretty much directly connected with the Spider-Man side of his life, pretty much. And so letting go of being Spider-Man means he kind of has to let go of Uncle Ben. But, life gets better for him and all that, but he realized that he needs to be Spider-Man. The city needs Spider-Man. He basically loses his powers because he doesn't want to be Spider-Man anymore, because he loses his will to be Spider-Man, and that's pretty much the best answer I can give off the top of my head. Gigi Cat saying everything you're saying about Spider-Man 2 CertainVids is right. Thank you for that. Let's see some more. Cartoon fan saying Spider-Man 2 is overrated. Highly disagree. Highly disagree. I hate Last Jedi with all my soul. Well, I don't. I actually kind of like it, but I think I assume you're talking about the point where I said that's simply cinema. That is simply cinema's favorite movie. The Last Jedi is really good. This is probably a bit of an unpopular or hot take. It's not really good. I think it's a good movie. It's a pretty good movie. It's not amazing. Kind of good though. Ian Big was saying Jaws 3 is honestly, in my opinion, the best Jaws sequel. Out of the sequels, I will say it's probably better than 2, but nothing comes close to the first Jaws. Not even close. Let's see here. Gigi Cat saying Endgame final battle isn't that great. It looks dull. Kind of. Color grading and the way the movies look is definitely a problem the MCU has faced. That they do face. They over rely on CGI quite a bit. But it's not exactly dull. It's pretty. It looks fine. The battle itself is really good. Endgame is not the best movie. Definitely not the best movie ever or anything. I really do like it. One of my favorite movies, easily. Not my favorite movie, but one of my favorites. Honestly, Endgame has one of the best endings for any movie. I will agree with that. Honestly. The final battle was abysmal. Very much disagree with that. I thought it was spectacular. Okay, this is an interesting one. Fantastic Four from 2005 is a great movie. I haven't seen it in quite some time, but it's not awful. It's definitely not like Fantastic Four 2015. It's not Fan Four Stick level, but it's not horrible, you know? Let's see, I just missed one. Fantastic Four from the 90s is the most comic accurate Fantastic Four movie. If you're talking about that straight to VOD movie that came out, definitely not. I don't have, no, that's not. The Emoji Movie is amazing. I hope you're kidding about that. Hope you're kidding about that, because that is, I very much do not like that movie. I don't think it's like garbage. I did do a video a while back talking about, or it was me like reacting to the movie. It was like an audio commentary. I did the entire movie. I just like cut out the parts where I wasn't talking. So it's only like a 20-minute video. Did not like it. Did not like the movie. Zion's movie reviews. Haven't seen you before, man. Thank you for stopping by. If you haven't already, subscribe. Join CV Nation. Happy to have you here. Thor Ragnarok is the best MCU film. I do think it's one of the best for sure. Not the best. I still think Endgame is better than it. I still think Winter Soldier is better than it. Maybe Civil War, maybe Doctor Strange, because I think that movie is incredibly underrated. But it's very, very good. I really do like it. Let's see here. My Hero Academia is a good anime. Not very unpopular. Ghostbusters 2016 is way underrated. Do not agree. Do not agree at all. Do not agree. That movie sucked. Do not agree. Ginger Cat. Ginger Cat 59 is the best YouTube channel. Not exactly a hot take. I don't know how many people disagree with that, but you do have a great channel, man. Deluxe Collectibles stopped by in here. Guys, we have 8 people watching. I'm not seeing that many people in the chat, so if you do have any unpopular opinions, make sure to send them in, because we are all caught up, and I'm going to go for maybe like 2 to 3 more minutes, see if we can get some more hot takes sent in. And then after that, we'll call it a stream, because I did go through those pretty fast. Did catch up with the chat pretty fast. But Deluxe Collectibles, I know you're in here. If you guys haven't already, smash that like button. It helps the stream out. If you haven't already, if you're new to the channel, click that subscribe button, as well as the notification bell, so you stay up to date on all future content like this live stream. I do a weekly segment, a weekly podcast called the CVPC. every Sunday. Always invite some guests onto the channel, and we always have fun. We take live questions, answer them, and all that fun stuff. Let's see here. Harry Potter films are a bit overrated. I haven't seen all of them, which is surprising because I'm a huge Harry Potter fan. But it's Harry Potter I really like. I won't concern myself. I'm not the biggest Potterhead, but I do like the franchise. And I should probably watch the movies soon. Ginger Cat 59, Harry Potter sucks. Very much disagree with that. I'm a huge fan of the books. Been watching the books. I watch books, guys. No, I've been reading. I read the books when I was little, and I absolutely loved them. I love this world concept and all that. I do not think Harry Potter sucks. Maybe the movies I don't end up liking, but as of right now, I do not think Harry Potter sucks. I think this is the first chat from you. Thanks for joining, my dude. Martin Scorsese is overrated. Weren't you talking to me like a couple of months ago about how you don't like it when somebody says, like when I said Scorsese was overrated? I don't know. Maybe that was you. Maybe it wasn't you. Martin Scorsese is overrated. I do agree with that, actually, 100%. I think Martin Scorsese, he's a good director and he makes good movies. It's just his movies are so kind of not pretentious. It's just that he just gets too much credit, man. I think he gets a little bit too much credit. I think his movies are fine for what they are. The only ones I really like are Shutter Island. I kind of like that movie. Goodfellas, I will admit, is a great film. And Taxi Driver. That's like the only 2 and 3 thing. Other than that, I think Casino's pretty overrated. I think The Irishman was incredibly overrated. Wolf of Wall Street, I think, is pretty overrated, if I'm being honest. I know a lot of people have said that the first half is really, really good, but then the second half kind of falters. I think I'll probably agree with that for now, but maybe a rewatch of that movie changes things. As of right now, I do not like Wolf of Wall Street, Casino, The Irishman. What are some other films? I can't even remember some other films. Off the top of my head, that's what I can think of. So really the only ones I like are Goodfellas and Taxi Driver. And I am fine with, what's it called? Shutter Island. I'm fine with that. Where are we at now? Okay, Ginger Cat 59 says The Dark Knight is overrated. Very, 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 very much disagree. That's my favorite comic book movie of all time. Epic Lugia, thanks for joining the stream, man. I haven't seen you on the channel before. If you're new to the channel, click the subscribe button. It will mean a lot. Click the notification bell because I do the live streams like this very often, and every Sunday I invite guests onto the channel. We answer live questions, so it's always really, really fun. But thanks for stopping by, man. Shrek the Third is not that bad. Shrek the Third is... yeah, it's nowhere near as good as the first two, but I think 4 is probably a little bit better. 3 is still the worst one. The Cartoon Fan 2006, I think Cars 1 is a good film. Disagree. I know a lot of people like that movie. I don't. I think it's almost as bad as Cars 2. I never was a fan of that franchise until Cars 3. And Cars 3 kind of won me over, not gonna lie. I really like Cars 3. Zion's movie review says the pool is better than the beach. Pool is better than the... ooh, that's actually a tough one. I really like both. I do. And obviously you get to swim in both. I think the beach maybe gets a little too hot for me. I don't know. That's a tough question. That's a weird one because they both get pretty hot. I mean, you're going to be outdoors. But I mean, you can't exactly have an indoor beach. Not really. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I've never been to an indoor beach, if that even exists. Whereas you can have an indoor pool. So the pool is better than the beach. I will say that I've been to the pool more. So maybe I'll agree with that. Maybe I'll agree. Ninja Brick saying, Unpopular Opinion, CertainVids is one underrated channel. Don't know how many people think I'm overrated, so I don't know if that counts as unpopular. But thank you for that. I appreciate that. Ginger Cat 59, I watch books too. Shrek 4 is worse than Shrek 3. Probably disagree. I just heard like some vibrations from somewhere. Shrek 4 is worse than Shrek 3. Probably disagree. I think Shrek 4 is a little bit better. I watch books and read movies. Yeah, so do I. Keaton is the worst Batman actor. JK, he's the best. Yeah, like I was saying earlier, a lot of people think Keaton, a lot of people think Affleck. I'm in the middle, man. I'm in the middle. I think Bale. I think Bale's the best. Raimi trilogy is one of the best trilogies ever. That is my favorite trilogy of all time, man. That is my. I know Ian Bigwood, you're a big Spider-Man fan. So glad I have somebody somebody in the community who loves Spider-Man as much as I do, man. I'm so glad. It's my favorite trilogy, man. It's so good. Yeah, man, I was just kidding with saying Scorsese is overrated. Just wanted to see your opinion on it. Well, I agree with that because that's my opinion too. Do you ever disagree with someone's opinion so much to the point where you dislike them as a person? Because online I see a lot of toxic discussions regarding anything, not just film. Yeah, that's definitely a problem. I think people get too heated up about it. People get too into it. They start taking things personally, whereas I don't really do that. I disagree. I am alarmed by some stuff. I am very shocked by some stuff that I see online, but I never get to the point where I'm like, dude, I hate you now. Get out of my life. No, I never do that, you know? So, yeah, people they just read too much into it. They just read too much into it, and it's just not good. AJ Reacts 2, thanks for joining the stream, man. What's up? I'm sorry I'm late, man. It's all right, dude. Hot take, My Hero Academia is the best anime ever made. I do need to start getting into anime. Oh, so close. Almost getting into My Hero. Or maybe I'll start One Punch Man first. I'm not sure yet. And then Ginger Cat 59 saying, Raimi Trilogy is the best. Definitely. Raimi Trilogy is the best. The cartoon fan saying, I think Toy Story 4 is worse than Finding Dory. Definitely disagree. Finding Dory was kind of disappointing in my opinion. It's still a good enough film. I liked it. Nowhere near as good as Finding Nemo, and Toy Story 4 I thought was initially, like, it's weird because when the movies come out, they get great reviews, they get great audience ratings, and, you know, they make money. But then a while later, everybody's just like, oh, that was overrated. I didn't like that movie. That movie sucked. That's the worst. I don't understand that. I'm like, well, I mean, you liked it when it came out. I mean, you went and saw it. You supported the movie. So, like, why are you, saying bad things about it now? GGCat59 saying Jack Nicholson is the best live-action Joker. No, Heath Ledger. Heath Ledger's way better, man. I agree with what you said about my opinions question, man. Like, at the end of the day, it's just your opinion. It doesn't have an effect on how you treat people and how much you like them. Yeah, you know, you could agree. Like, if you dislike a person in real life, it doesn't change the fact that you could still agree with a lot of their opinions. If you really, really like a person in real life, that doesn't change the fact that you could disagree with a lot of their opinions. So, you know, it's all subjective. Let me just drink some more water real quick. And here's what we're going to do, guys. We're going to take maybe 3 more hot takes, and then we'll call it a stream. So make them good. Make them unpopular. Make sure you think that. Like, don't just make up stuff because you want me to react to it. Actually have it be stuff that you think in real life. But I'm going to take 3, or let's make it 5. I'm going to 5 more hot takes, so make them hot. Zion's movie review says you should have live streams with Filmstock, who agrees. Oh, so I'm guessing you are from Filmstock's channel. Well, thank you for stopping by. And I do live streams with Filmstock every Sunday. So maybe not every Sunday, but I just did one with him last Sunday. He's probably going to be back this Sunday too. So I do tons of live streams with Filmstock. Great guy, Chris. If anybody in the chat hasn't checked him out, make sure you go check him out. I do frequent live streams where most of the time I do have him on. The cartoon fan. I think Despicable Me is a bad film. No, I really like that first one. I do. I think the second one is not as good, and I think the third one is better than the second one, but still not better than the first one. So I disagree with that. I think Despicable Me is a pretty good film, but I'm going to take 4 more, guys. Make them good. They can be, I don't know how many of them can be stuff that I've heard before, but make the last 4 some hard hitters. We got to end this with a bang. You know what I'm saying? We got to end it with a bang. Just keep them coming. I'm just going to wait until I see a really, really good one, and then we'll just count it off. Just count down. So think of the craziest hot take that you have. Think of all the movies you've seen in your life, and then really, really hone it down to one movie. This isn't exactly a hot... Oh, okay. This is a pretty hot take. Howard the Duck is a great movie. Not even close. Howard the Duck sucks. It's a bad movie. a lot of those movies during that time were just really bad. Let's see. That's Psycho Reviewer saying, I think Ben Affleck is overrated. I like all other Batman actors. So that is pretty much a hot take there. Don't disagree with you, or I don't agree with you. I think Affleck isn't overrated. I like him. I really, really like Christian Bale. I really, really like him. I really like Christian Bale. But two more hot takes, guys. Two more hot takes, and this is a pretty good one. Zion's movie review saying Scarlet Witch is stronger than Thor. Scarlet Witch is stronger than. Wow, I'm thinking about that right now, and that's making me do a double take. Thor, I really like. Scarlet Witch, I like more as a character. More powerful. I think I might have to agree on that one. I mean, there's no like subjectivity here. This is kind of objective based on what's shown us. I think maybe, but Thor is pretty freaking strong. So, I'm seeing some Black Panther ones in here. That's one that I actually agree with. So those of you saying Black Panther is overrated, shouldn't have been nominated for an Oscar, I really do agree with that one, but that's one that I've seen quite a bit. So I'm going to take, what are we at? Two more or one more? That was one. I think we're at two more. Okay. I think The Mighty Ducks is bad. I gotta disagree with you on that one, man. Gotta disagree with you. I really like The Mighty Ducks. Haven't seen it in a while, but this is pretty. A lot of people hate on this guy, so I gotta take this one. This is the last one we're gonna take, guys, unless somebody throws some crazy stuff out into the wind. Autocorrect sucks. Okay, I know you meant fat. Fat Thor in Endgame was funny. I agree, man. I thought Fat Thor was funny. I don't understand the hate for the character. I know the fact that they ruined the character and all that after all that development. It wasn't a better character than in like Infinity War or Ragnarok, but Edward Norton is a better Hulk than Mark. I disagree. I like Mark more, but he was a good choice too. The thing is, with okay, this is pretty hot. Let me go. This is a pretty hot take. Let me answer this one, and then I'll do that one. The thing is, in Endgame, he could have changed back. He could have changed back into Zion Movies Review. Bye. This was so much fun. Thanks for stopping by, man. I'm glad you had fun. He could have changed back to like ripped, strong Thor. He could have not stayed fat. But he was going to work at it. He's going to work at it. He didn't just go back because of his magical powers. He was like, no, I'm going to fight this way. And I respect that. I really, really respect that. I think that was a noble quality to have. So I don't understand the hate for Fat Thor. That's a pretty good one right there. Thor is the best Thor movie. I disagree. I think Ragnarok is better, but I know this is one that is becoming a little bit more popular. I've seen a couple of video essays on this. I know some people agree. I disagree. I think Thor is a great film. The first Thor. Second one is definitely the worst. Ragnarok, I still think, is the best one. I think my favorite movie of all. I think you got cut off there. The Boss Baby is the worst DreamWorks movie. I actually like Boss Baby. I am fine with Boss Baby. I don't hate that movie. But that's gonna do it, you guys. Thanks so much for everybody that stopped by. This was probably one of my shorter streams. But we had a lot of hot takes come in here. We had a lot of people sending on Instagram. If you guys don't follow me on Instagram at CertainVids, for whenever I do stuff like this, you guys can comment and then I will read your questions. You don't have to stay in the live chat. I can just read your questions through Instagram. So follow me on there. Follow me on Twitter at CertainVids as well. Letterboxd at CertainVids. That's where you can keep track with all the movies that I'm watching throughout the week. In terms of new content, guys, I do have a video collab with AJ Reacts 2, who was in the chat for a little bit, coming tomorrow. Not sure what time yet. Still need to finish a couple of things on that. So that'll be tomorrow. And then next week, I've got let me think real quick. I know I've got a MCU review coming next week. Carton Fan Buy, this was very fun. Thanks so much for stopping by, man. I've got an MCU movie review coming tomorrow or next week. And then I have Greyhound, which I'm going to review off of Apple TV Plus. And That's going to be next Friday. So I do have some new content coming. Bye, guys. This was a very interesting discussion. Definitely was. Ninja Brick says everything is CertainVids. Everything is CertainVids except it's not a capital C, capital V. Everything is just lowercase c, lowercase v. You can still type in capital C, capital V on Letterboxd, and it's going to show up. But do not type that in on Instagram or Twitter. On Instagram or Twitter, it is CertainVids, capital, just lowercase c, lowercase v. But thank you so much for everybody that stopped by. Hope this boom arm made a difference on my on the audio quality. Hope you guys enjoyed that. This is definitely going to help out on the videos even more. It helped out in the live stream, but it's going to help out a lot on videos. But thank you so much for stopping by, guys. I will see you in the next one. Until then, have a great rest of your day and stay positive.